Good evening, YouTube. This is Kaylin String coming at you with my regular Sunday night dinner. I am bringing up the stream on my tablet so I can see the chat easier. Gotta get past this stupid ads as well. What I have is Sapaco packed Menu 6 MCW Meal Cold Weather. This one was packed, I don't know how well you'll be able to see that, 2019. This menu got taken out of circulation a few years after that, but Sean Haack happened to have a spare one, and so I bought it along with the LRP that had the spicy Oriental chicken. These bags are super thick, so they're very difficult to peel open. This is one of my favorite MCW menus. And I was happy to be able to get it at maybe one last time. Well, I'm not going to be able to peel this one open. This being too much of a bugger, so I'm going to cheat. I'm going to use my little blade to do a little slice from behind. There is an accessory pack, and it has the Bill's Brew coffee. It says MCW on it. Oh, this one happens to have vegetable crackers in it. Awesome. Now I can save that pack for another time. Chicken flavored ramen in the shaker bag, so that means I will have to get a second bowl. Got another shaker bag, tropical punch. I just stripped the powder down. Got a marble pound cake. And then the last thing out of here, actually there was something else that flew out. The spoon decided to take a jump. This is the entree itself, packed by Mountain House. About 2, possibly 3 years ago, these got changed to the retail packaging known as their Pro Pack. And all of these other components are sealed up in another bag inside of the main ration bag. So what I'm going to do is actually get this thing going first before I get into anything else. I got a clip, and then I have this foam bag that is the insulator bag from one of the Chinese rations that I reviewed. So I'm going to cut this right below the seal. What, did I make it? Oh, yep. Oh, maybe not. Oh, here we go. So that is what the contents looks like. What I have is to mix it with my a long-handled teaspoon. This is the longest one that I have. Is it can go pretty far down in there, especially once I get the water inside it and I can start mixing it around. So I will get the kettle from the kitchen. I'll pour the water in here, then I'll take it back because I want to prepare the coffee and the ramen, and I need to get another bowl for that. And I'll be right back. Because this is a soup, I do have a larger bowl for it. Oh crap. I think I got a leak. I got it off camera. I have just put my bowl on a chair and I got the pouch in the bowl. And I'm checking for leaks. I think just overspill. And I got this inside of here. I'm going to get a paper towel and I will clean that up. And now that I got that seafood chowder going, I'm going to go ahead and open up the ramen pouch. And as I do that, I can see we got multi-magnum in the house. One of these clumps is a little too big to go down through that center, the hourglass shape of this, so I broke that. Got CR in the house. Got my Iowa Brother Boating's Life in the house. Sleepy Dog Construction. So that is the ramen pouch opened up. Out of the accessory pack, you get the Bill's Brew, moist towelette, the creamer, sugar, matches made by Dee Dee Bean and Sons, a bottle of Tabasco, you get the spearmint gum and the rear roll. The things that I will not be using, the rear roll, the gum, the matches and the moist towelette go off to the side. Well, that one did not open very well. There we go. I'm putting all of my trash into the ration bag. There's waffles in the house. Booger Butt and Booger Butt have joined in. I want the creamer in. Now I'm going to put the sugar in. The sugar packets you get in more recent productions of the USM Marie's have a little bit less sugar than this one. And they will usually be branded Enjoy, which is a food service brand. That you can buy from any food service supplier, or you can buy them at Sam's Club. I don't know if Costco sells Enjoy, but they might. I don't have a Costco membership, so I couldn't tell you. So I am going to move that back. And I will prepare this in the pouch, just like the person in the field would. And then I will also pour the hot water into the coffee. And I will be right back with that. I'm going to put this bowl here just in case I have any overspill. Now, these shaker pouches do have the zip top at the bottom, which the older Mountain House pouches do not. The only problem with these pouches, you only have a fill line on the outside and not the inside. I will set that like that. I'm going to give my seafood chowder a shake. And I'm going to open it to see if I need to add any more water. I think that should be enough. I keep knocking the Tabasco sauce bottle off, so I'm going to move that farther back. I'm going to take the kettle back into the kitchen because I'm done with it. Okay, I am back. Just wanted to draw off my tray more. So now what I will do is I will open up the fruit punch. I'll get that going in my drinking jar. Waffles is here. DeCarlo's Perry's here. This one almost ripped off the zip seal. But as I like to do with these, I'll just go ahead and mix this one in my drinking jar. For those coming in, 2019 discontinued seafood chowder menu. It is one of my favorites, along with the turkey tetrazzini. It would be awesome if these particular ones were put into the civilian market so that people who enjoy these menus can buy them, because I do enjoy them. I'm going to use my 4 Emery spork to mix that. And again, Art, I do apologize for breaking that foreign emery mug. I would love to find a replacement because I did enjoy using that. But unfortunately, the handle broke off, it cracked, and I water tested it. It does not hold liquid anymore, so it's just a decorative item in my kitchen. This fruit punch is one of my least favorites because it just has a weird color. There are other tropical drink mixes that are much better. And of course the red 40 has got to go. I'm taking time to mix this up because these drink powders do tend to take a lot of time to mix up because they are sugar heavy. Plus it gives me time to let the other items reconstitute. I'll probably give that another mix later. Some of the powder stuck to the back of my spork. This tropical punch tends to have a bit of an oily component to it, which is another reason why I don't like it. So there is the Bill's Brew in my delicious mug. I'll give this another stir later. Stanton Shenanigans is here. Thanks for dropping in. Curious Pete is here. Thanks for dropping in. I'll go ahead and open up the pound cake. And there is the date code on the back of that. Didn't quite tear all the way across, but this is when they've already started making these pound cakes round instead of squared or rectangular. Popping the oxygen absorber off. I kind of like the looks of that one. That one looks pretty cool. Vegetable crackers are my favorite ration cracker. Don't think I got a hiss out of it, but oh well. If these break up, I'm okay with that because they're going to be going into the chowder anyway. These break up so easily. Very tiny specks of color are the vegetable bits. Spicy tuna rolls in the house. Thanks for dropping in. I'm going to go ahead and pour out the ramen. In all its yellow glory. There's some carrot, a lot of carrot, a few peas, a few corn kernels, some of the noodles wanting to escape. This menu has always been a bit of a curious one. Why there would be a ramen, basically a soup in with another soup. I don't know if maybe this was intended where the soldier in the field could eat the ramen at one time and then maybe have the chowder later. Maybe it was a time factor, or they were just not hungry enough for both of them at once. I'm going to put that back here. I'm going to put that on top to keep the heat in. Actually, I'm going to turn this way. Now this big bowl comes back for me to pour the seafood chowder into. Looks like everything came out of it. So this is what the seafood chowder looks like. There's potato, there's clams, there's maybe oysters, maybe some shrimp, and the cream broth. This would not be one for anyone who is allergic to certain seafoods or maybe are iodine sensitive like my mom. She has to be careful about what seafood she eats, and then how much, how often. There's a big clump of it that didn't quite get broken up, but I'm fixing that right now. There's my cursor in the house. Thanks for dropping in. Frenchie Sandy, her channel name is, her handle is not what her channel name actually is. But I'm going to go ahead and put Cracker Bits in there. There are no spreads included in here. I figured the soldier in the field would be putting the crackers into the chowder anyways. I'm doing. Now the spread packets could freeze if left outside, which I'm sure the Tabasco bottle would as well. But they would probably guard that more closely. I think that'll be a good start for now. I'm going to take that away. Yeah, Mother Earth Garden Club is Frenchie Sandy's YouTube channel name. When they did these handles, I don't know if people didn't realize you could change them, but because mine matches my channel name, I just left it as is. But sometimes people will have to explain, say what their channel name actually is, which may be different from the handle. Oh, awesome, Mike. That should help out a bit. Ramen tastes like your typical inexpensive grocery store variety ramen. It's got that chicken flavor and that yellow color. But I have been eating ramen for a lot. Gray Man Prepping in the House, one of Gil's channels. His other one is Camp Patton Family Compound. Got Bill's Brew, my delicious mug. That is the one that I have decided to go to for the most part since I broke my foreign MRE mug. My first mug I got from Mike Crusher is black inside, so it's hard to see any dark powders you put in there. But the replacement is yellow inside, so that definitely is a plus. Well, that's not fun to deal with. We have partly cloudy here. It was 40 degrees Fahrenheit just a few minutes before I went live. That's how it is here in Des Moines. We could have had a possible record-breaking high Tuesday, but that got shifted to Wednesday because I guess the weather system has moved. I'm going to give my Tropical Punch another mix just to make sure that it's thoroughly mixed up. Going for another bite of the ramen. If this was a shrimp ramen and you had a larger container, you could have combined the two. But I'm still curious why chicken ramen was put in here with the seafood chowder. But who knows, maybe we'll never know. Yeah, grilling out is something it's harder to get away with here, especially if you're not on the ground floor. The last time I actually did it, I used my folding twig stove, and I had some scrap metal pieces that I'd put in between it and my deck rail. Of course, I have a steel table out there that it goes on, or that I would sit it on there, so I could somewhat conceal it that way. Tim Riley in the house. Thanks for dropping in. I'm going to put a few more bits of the cracker in here. And I'll just dip a piece in there. If this would have had the regular crackers, the plain crackers in here, I had another vegetable cracker pack on standby. Now this is definitely thickened up from sitting here in this bowl and from putting the cracker pieces in. Yeah, just a laid back Sunday here. Typical for unless I have something that, event that I'm helping out with or attending. Then I just stay home and relax, not do much. I take care of the litter box and I do my live reviews, and that's pretty much it. I do not have an air fryer. I have my Instant Pot Duo. I haven't actually tried to see if I could air fry in it. So if I have just cooked meats in it, specifically just chicken, but I was given some lamb that was cut into chunks, not this past Friday, but the Friday before. someone had hand slaughtered and butchered a couple of them, all done according to Islamic rules, and it was bagged up and it was handed out for people to take home last Friday. So I have that in my freezer. Sometimes Pumpkin will toss up some of her smaller cloth toys, like that one that I got that could be filled with catnip, which I have done. She also has a little stuffed fish that she'll toss around. Yeah, it's basically a smaller version. My oldest sister has one. There's one in the house that my other two sisters and my brother share. They have an air fryer in there. But I would have to look at the manual for my Instapot to see if I can air fry in there. I can saute in it. It says I can use as rice cooker, yogurt maker, although I've never tried any of that. I could steam in it. The only thing this one cannot do is actually pressure can. The Instapot Max is the model that you can pressure can in. And the woman who has a channel Disabled and Prepping, that's the model she has. And she can pressure can 4 pints at a time. I don't know if she could double stack half pints. But she has shown how she has canned 4 pints at a time in her Instapot Max. Mine is the Duo. I just use an old mug that I found at a bus stop several years ago. Right now for drinking my coffee in. Eventually I might switch that one out for another mug that I have. I have a mug that I won from Alaska Prepper, and that is taller than these here. I think it's like a maybe 14-ounce capacity. I might use that as my daily user. There is Robert in the house. Thanks for dropping in. (2019) menu 6. Unfortunately, it got the boot a few years ago. I don't have a TV. I don't bother trying to watch any sports online. I just watch stuff on YouTube. This is about the size that I normally break up my ramen when I'm doing ramen. I'll break up the noodles before I add the water and any seasonings I put in it. Let's see, I will go to a backup device to do that, because that would allow me to do that right now before it disappears from the chat. Done. By the way, the temp went down to 38 degrees Fahrenheit. So you should see that in your inbox about now. When I was younger, I was into the Pittsburgh Steelers. But then I sort of started to follow the Rams when Iowa native Kurt Warner joined that team. And I got a hold of his rookie card. With him wearing his Rams jersey on it. But I really haven't followed a lot of the sports lately, not even the Indiana Fever, where Iowa native Caitlin Clark plays. And hopefully this coming season, the WNBA season, she will be healthy enough to get back with the team, because she had to sit out most of the last season because of various injuries. I'll look at news or sports or anything just to take a casual glance. But that's about it. Yeah, it was not too bad out today. We got up to 42 Fahrenheit. That's probably like 4 Celsius, something like that. Maybe 5. Give or take a degree or 3. And the wind hasn't been too bad like it has been on some days. We have 2 hockey teams here in Des Moines. We have the Des Moines Buccaneers, which would be like the lower level team. I don't remember what major team they're affiliated with. And then we have the Iowa Wild, which would be to the top level team, like the Iowa Cubs are to the Chicago Cubs. So the Des Moines Buccaneers is going to be getting a new arena. Their current ice arena is going to be replaced by a new one. And then the Iowa Wild play in what used to be known as Wells Fargo Arena. Now it is called the Casey Center. Same building, just different corporate name on it. But that's where they play. And then the Iowa Wolves basketball team, which is like a farm team of the Minnesota Timberwolves, they play in that same arena. And we had an arena football team. I haven't heard anything about them. If they're going strong. And then we have a minor league hockey team known as the Des Moines Menace. have not gone to see any of those teams play. Our very first minor league basketball team was known as the Des Moines Dragons, but then they got rolled into the Iowa Wolves. But I had gone to one Des Moines Dragons game with a group, but I have never gone to a Wolves game. I've never seen either of our two hockey teams play, and I've never seen our soccer team play. I have been to several Iowa Cubs games in the past, but I have not gone in the past few years. Yeah, I didn't even watch the Olympics, although I did have an interest in an Iowa archer who competed in the Paralympics and actually won. He shoots a standard longbow with his feet. And he sits on a chair. He holds the bow with one foot, and then he knocks the arrow onto the string with his other foot. He concentrates on his target, and then lets it fly, and he hunts to feed his family. It would be extremely difficult for someone with no arms to shoot a rifle or a shotgun. But he figured out how to shoot a bow and kept practicing, and then he started hunting and got successful with that. The Iowa Cubs had a decent season, from what I could see from seeing the sports report throughout the summer and the fall. But since I really don't pay attention to much, I just don't keep a lot of that in my head. Well, that's when you go elsewhere. You find something different that you might like, and you just go after that. Now, we used to watch a lot of fishing shows on TV. And my late dad still did up until he got really sick from his cancer. Yeah, we grew up fishing, so we just grew up watching fishing shows. You know, both the casual fishing shows and tournaments. But like I said, since I don't have a TV and chose not to bring one here when I moved here at the end of October of 2016, I just watch stuff on YouTube. I do have the free services like Tubi and Pluto on my Kindle. I was paying for Hulu, but when I couldn't watch Eating History because I did not have a high enough tier membership, apparently, I just killed my Hulu account and never looked back. So I went for the free ones instead. Yeah, if you can disable the autocorrect, you definitely want to do that because sometimes they will not like what you want to say, even if it is correct. Like before I figured out how to disable it on Facebook, when it kept wanting to say my name was not correct, or it would not accept the spelling of Des Moines as correct. And I had to find a way to work around that to get it the way it's supposed to be. And then leave my cursor there. And then hit post. That's usually how I got around that. But it has gotten better at recognizing names that may have unusual spellings as legit names. And it doesn't mess up the city anymore. Yeah, and some of the ads are getting kind of crazy here on YouTube. Seeing ads for things that I don't know how the heck I get to see these because they're targeted at men. A few times I've had ads dubbed in Russian. I've had a couple in Chinese. The Spanish ones, they're okay, but sometimes they put an English word where a Spanish word exists for that. But ads that are not for women I don't know why I see those. Thanks for dropping in, Carl. I hope to see you another time. Oh, next Sunday will be my birthday. I will have something special and fun for that one. Maybe I'll just find a picture of a big old question mark. Or maybe a birthday gift or something like that, or birthday cake. I might put that up instead of a picture of a ration bag. I did that one other time. I had a mystery thing and I used a question mark. And then I revealed what it was. And good old Bill's Brew. It's a decent instant coffee. There are definitely worse ones out there. As long as they keep it in the MCWs, I'll be very happy. Coffee just needs to go back in the regular MREs, and it needs to be put into the halal certified ones. Switching up between the chowder and the ramen. Yeah, I could do that. I do have pound cakes, though I don't think. I think I have one marble, but I think it might be in a bunch of chunks. But it may not look as cool as this one does. I think the top of this one looks super cool. I happen to have birthday candles in some of my survival kits, either ones that I have put together myself or ones that others have sent me in prize boxes I won off of other YouTubers. But I could get one of those and stick it in a pound cake. Yep. But these do not have a whole lot of sides because yeah, these are designed for cold climates. Yep, I will be stuffed. I didn't eat a whole lot for lunch. I was definitely stuffed after I ate that borscht on New Year's Day. Yes, I did finish that whole thing. That's okay, John. It's good to see you here. This one did come with a pack of vegetable crackers. If it had the plain crackers, this would have been my backup. But I can save those for another day. So the crackers went into the chowder. No spread. Comes in these MCWs. Got the Bill's Brew, the chicken ramen, and a tropical punch. Of course, I am going to finish all this off. This is one of the 2 rations that I bought off of Sean Haack a few months ago. Then I tossed up a poll. Should I do this MCW or that LRP that had the spicy Oriental chicken? That one won out that day. So I decided to bring this one out for my first Sunday night dinner of 2026. I have scored a few more rations. I'm waiting on those to come in. So I should get those sometime this week. By the way, John put up a video recently showing some cool stuff. You have to go check that out. And that's all I will say about that one. I don't want to spoil it. But when I get those other rations, one of them was from a ration group member on Facebook. And then the other 2 I got off eBay. I have never opened any of my Hot Diggity Dog bottles. And I've never opened any of my Tabasco bottles. Well, maybe I did open one several years ago. But that's it. But I got a shout out in a video, not from a ration reviewer, but the channel Jujutsu 2000. He did a review on a flashlight that has a flexible head where you can angle it. So I commented, if you have one, you should do a comparison between that light and the Olight Arc Flex. And so he put that video up today. He did a comparison between those two. The Arc Flex has a movable head as well. And he gave me a shout out for suggesting that idea. So of course I commented thanking him for the shout out. But he likes to do comparisons between similar items. So I thought that would be a good fit. I guess I just can't get enough of this stuff. Now, Progresso makes a halfway decent clam chowder, but it's just clam. It doesn't have, oysters and shrimp in it like this does. I think this one's a bit better. Thanks for dropping in, CR. So for those coming in late, next Sunday is my birthday, and I will have something unique and fun. When I put up a post for it, I'll probably pick some picture that may either be just a big old question mark or a picture of a birthday cake. So I cannot wait to put that meal together. I'm surprised Pumpkin hasn't or didn't show up in here and wonder what's going on when I opened up the seafood chowder bag, or when I started pouring the water in it to start it rehydrating. I guess all the other stuff combined with the seafood probably was not to her liking. Or she was just sleeping like a lazy cat. Yep, this chowder is a good one. I wish it would remain in the MCW lineup. I would love to try some of the new menus that replaced my favorites. But who knows, maybe I'll get to that this year. The marble pound cake has always been a good one. In fact, I think I'll go ahead and break it open this way. Give you a good look at that. The sugar has kind of migrated to the outside. Bit on the dry side, but if you take a drink of coffee right after you eat a bite of that, that's good. I've only had a few of the British cakes, but I have liked every one of them. The spicy ginger one, that's probably one of my favorites. These are just a cake alone without any sauce on it. They may be packed by the company Orifo, or it may be packed by someone contracted by Vesti Foods. But they're more of a rectangular shape and they have a paper wrapped around it. I think I've had 3 of them so far, and they've all been good. Yeah, yeah, that's the one, Waffles, that ginger one. That is one delicious cake. I would definitely recommend that one. The chocolate one I had kept falling apart. It was a bit dry, but it was still good. I think the other one might have been a carrot cake. Yeah, that's what I got from that ginger one. It had a bit of a spice to it, just the right amount. There was a similar cake in another ration I had, but I don't remember where that one came from. But I would love to get another one of those ginger cakes. Those are really good. Yeah, I think that chocolate one I had, it was it was dry. It kept falling apart. I could have just been knocked around too much in transit, but the carrot cake was good, and of course that ginger one. And I don't remember the flavor I had. That came from another ration, but I think it was just a loose item that I added to a ration that it was already going to have. It just didn't have a dessert on it, so I grabbed that one. But that was several years ago. I think that was the last time I had one of those foreign cakes. And you're hearing my heater cycle on. Same unit as my air conditioner. I just switched to heat mode. I hope that noise isn't too bothersome. There might be a day or two this week where I don't have to run it, and I may end up cracking the windows. Took my V in the house. Thanks for dropping in. What you do not see is the vegetable crackers. This is my spare in case this one had plain crackers or something else. But it had vegetable crackers, and they all ended up in the chowder. And they pretty much dissolved. Actually, there might be a piece right there in the corner of my spork. This is a meal cold weather menu that is no longer in production. It got replaced a few years ago. I'm bummed about that. I was happy to be able to score this one at least one more time. Sean Haack had a spare, so I bought this, and that LRP that had the spicy Oriental chicken, I bought both of those from him. And I think he threw in a couple other goodies to fill out the box. But I have 3 rations on the way that I purchased, 2 from eBay, 1 from a ration group member on Facebook. So they should be coming this week. Hopefully they will not get abused on the way here like what happened to the first lot of the chicken Vienna sausages I bought off Amazon. They were shipped by UPS. They were not packed very well. They were just bounced around and the cans got damaged. They're not compromised. I didn't have to throw any of them out immediately, but I was able to get a replacement set of 6 cans, and they were packaged better, and they were delivered by an Amazon driver instead of shipped through a shipping service. But when I get those in, I will show you what's in those packages. Two of them are from a country I have reviewed rations from before, and the other one will be completely new to me. I may have had a loose component or 3 from one of those. That came in a mystery box. But a complete ration from there? Nope, that will be a first for me. And I got it at a good price. Yeah, I'm drinking this tropical punch even though I would prefer not to have it, but I'll drink them. And I'll get them out of my life. I would love to see some new drink powders put into U.S. rations. I'd like to see a few new ones put in Canadian rations too, but at least those taste better. And there are a couple of flavors in there that you will not find in American rations. But the European rations have the best ones. I have a few of those in my stash. But I will go to the American or Canadian ones first and just kind of hold on to those other ones for a little while longer. There are a few classic drink powders from older American rations that need to come back. The instant tea and the apple cider. Those need to come back. Actually, I have another idea for this red stuff. You could use it as a trail marker in snow. But unfortunately, I can't test that here because the snow around here is about melted off. But that's what these red drink powders would be great for, is using as a trail marker. Well, I'm not old enough for that alcohol stuff. I'm only going to be 60 in a few days. Plus, I think it would ruin the vodka anyway. Maybe I won't drink all these fruit punches. Maybe I'll save one to use as a trail marker in snow. Yep, you're Liz doing grandpa duty. When you live across the street from their grandkids, that's pretty much a given. You might not be able to see it, but if you look at the sides of my drinking jar, you can see the red kind of hang there. The regular fruit punch that doesn't say tropical on it does it a little bit, but not like this one does. There's something that is different in this one than any of the other red drink powders. And going after some more of the rum. Pumpkin just came back in here. She's to my right. If I slide this over, you might be able to see her down there. Pumpkin! She likes to go back and forth underneath my chair. Don't you silly little cat. I got a toy trying to get her attention with. Yeah, she'll take it from me, but then she'll move somewhere else. That's just the way she is. I just shifted my little table back again. But she's just being pumpkin. Uh, if Johnny is still in here, he is the one who brought Pumpkin to me when he had to find a new home for one of the cats. So it was decided that I was the only one who could be trusted with caring for Pumpkin. So that's why she's here. I still had Mila at the time. Mila was not happy, but she couldn't do anything about it. And Mila was the only cat for most of her life. She was just not willing to accept Pumpkin. But Pumpkin wanted to accept her. But after Mila crossed the Rainbow Bridge, it took Pumpkin a little getting used to being the only cat. But she is adjusted. Isn't that right, Pumpkin? Yeah. Now you would think that a cat named Pumpkin would be orange, not a tortie cat. Uh, no, you're not in trouble. Saying that the fruit punch needs vodka, that's not something that would get you booted. Unfortunately, you would not want to ruin vodka with this fruit punch. She's purring and she's sniffing. I don't know how well you saw that. There's a bit of a delay in between what my phone sees and what I see on my tablet screen. I'll slide that back over so She moves over here. You can see her better. They like seeing you, Pumpkin. They like seeing the dirty girl. Yes, they do. They like seeing the dirty girl, Pumpkin. Yeah, Hawaiian Punch is definitely better than this tropical punch. It doesn't have some of the weird stuff that this stuff has. The Canadian fruit punch that you get out of an IMP is better. Is their mixes are actually sports drink based. Whereas most of these US drink powders are not. They're not electrolyte. They're not based off of what you get in a typical sports drink. I finished off that chowder. Now I'm going to finish off this ramen. And Pumpkin has gone off to do who knows what. I'll just move this back over here. And she comes back. You can see her to the right. She's gone to the slider, listening for any noises. Nothing interesting out there, Pumpkin? She's gone to her food bowl. Which is actually one of those gravity feeders that can hold 3.15 ounce bag of cat food. And that's what I used to buy. I used to buy that size bag of cat food. But sometimes the stores didn't have the brand that I wanted, and I just wanted to stick to the same brand. So then I started getting the larger bags, and I put them on Amazon Subscribe and Save. Finishes off the ramen. Thanks for dropping in, Waffles. Now, Waffles is the one who sent me that surprise 24-pack case B. I still have a few left in that from that case, and I still have a few left of the 22-pack case A that I bought off of Amazon. You can still find them there, but they may not be the same price as they were when I bought them. And they still may be 22 packs. That's probably what all they have. But I have, when I was poking around looking for rations, I saw the C-Cars up on eBay, the close combat assault ration, which is replacing the first strike ration. But there are only 3 menus of that. I hope that those are expanded, because if a soldier had to live off of those for more than those 3 days, either during an exercise or an actual mission, that would get tiring, I'm pretty sure. And that tropical punch does not go well with this pound cake, but the coffee does. But I don't have a whole lot of coffee left in my mug, so I'll continue to drink the fruit punch. What's on your mind, Pumpkin? What's on your little kitty mind? Yeah, I would love to see tea put into the halal ones. But you don't get that. You don't get cocoa. And those are all snack heavy. Like 3 snacks. I'm not sure what the reasoning is behind that. And when you open the accessory pack for one of those, there are 2 packs of sugar, but nothing to put it in. And you're not going to put it in a cold drink powder that's already sweet enough. She just keeps going back and forth, don't you, Pumpkin? Is that what you do? Is that what you do, Pumpkin? Thanks for dropping in, John. Now, coffee should be in every single U.S. ration. Some of the Spanish ones don't have coffee in there. I wish they did. But with most other foreign rations, You'll get coffee, whether it's just a straight up coffee like the Bill's Brew, or you'll get a 3-in-1. For one thing, it would be a morale booster for a soldier who had a hard day. Or on a cold morning, you want that warm cup of coffee to get you going. I've not seen Chinese rations with coffee, though. I don't think you'll find it in there. At least the ones I've seen that I've personally have opened up, and ones I've watched reviews on. Never seen coffee in a Chinese ration, but I think tea is more their thing, but you won't find tea in some Chinese rations. So, and others have said this, I bet what some soldiers will do, they'll get their own instant coffee and they'll put it in their pockets so that even if they have to brew it cold, like put the coffee into their canteen or other water bottle, if they have to drink it that way, I'm pretty sure some will do it. Yeah, I like to have my coffee too. When I'm eating my very early breakfast during Ramadan that I eat before first light, I'll have a cup of coffee. Of course, then I will, after I do that, I'll eat that early breakfast, I'll take my meds, and then I do the morning prayer, and then I'll go back to bed for a little bit. Of course, when we go to the lake every summer, we take an electric coffee maker and a percolator that you put on the camp stove, or you could put it on a campfire. And my mom has a large capacity thermos, and the coffee maker will fill that thing up, plus leave room for maybe a couple people to have a cup of that before that's empty. And that thermos will keep that coffee hot for quite a few hours. I mean, we go in the summer, but we still drink our coffee. And some drink decaf, and some drink regular, so that's why we have the two pots going. I can do a full 12 cups, 6-ounce cups in that electric percolator that I found in the laundry room a few months ago. I haven't actually brewed in it yet. I just water tested it. But I have filters and I will continue to buy the filter discs for that. I usually drink 2 mugs about this size, and then I'll switch to something else. I'll drink tea, or I've been slowly going through those Pepsis that I got from my sisters last month. Now she is on top of the box that my Instapot is in. Well, you want to try to go through here, Pumpkin? I got too much stuff here, Pumpkin. I don't think that's going to work. Yeah, she figured it out. And she just jumped back down on the floor. She likes to walk across my desk, but if there's too much stuff like I currently have at the moment, then she will take a pass and go somewhere else. And that's just the way she is. But I wouldn't have it any other way. Isn't that right, Pumpkin? Yeah, she has a few different meows. It can be a pretty loud one. Sometimes she can meow like a little kitten. And then sometimes she'll meow like a really old cat. I guess it's her mood. But she has a purr that can be like that too. Mila hardly ever purred. I only ever heard her purr maybe once or twice, and that was only if she was right next to my ear. But sometimes when Pumpkin purrs, I'll ask her what kind of battery she's got inside of her to run that kitty motor. And a few days ago, she did her loudest yawning meow I have ever heard. One of these days, I want to capture her yawning meow on camera, but every time she's done it, I've been sitting on the toilet. In fact, I think it was Thursday. Usually her yawning meows are not that loud, but that day it was really loud. Yeah, I went after the cake crumbs. I have never heard or seen Pumpkin do that. Usually, when she's looking out, she's pretty silent. One quirk that Mila had, is she would paw at the glass. Unlike Pumpkin, she was never a screen climber. I could have a window wide open and she'd just put her paws up and just look out. Even when she was young, she was not a screen climber. But she loved to chase bugs that would get inside somehow. But both cats have caught mice. Not very many, but they both have caught mice. So I'm very happy that they both have done that. But there are birds that like to hang out on the deck. Some of them will nest in the underside of the ceiling of my deck, which is the floor of the one above me, or they nest in the tree, the birch tree that's right in front, and just hang out on the deck. Then there are squirrels, although I very rarely see them go anything after, after anything other than this summer I put a bowl of water out there for either bird or squirrel to go get a drink. And I would refresh that every couple of days. The Pumpkin is rubbing on my table base and purring. Got your kitty motor on it, Pumpkin? Got your kitty motor on it? Well, that was good for that Dobie to do that. I think, well, the one time Pumpkin did tear my bedroom window screen, it was already wind damaged anyway. She sat on the windowsill because there's no deck below, and it's too far from the tree for her to try to jump to the tree. She just sat there. She's probably dumbfounded about what to do, but when she tried to climb the screen of my slider, she had climbed it all the way to the top. She figured she'd be able to get out onto the deck, but I don't leave it open wide enough for her to get her head through as much as I would like to, but until she really starts slowing down, then I can only crack the windows a little bit. Oh yeah. Pumpkin has been known to chase the odd bug that gets in here, and she's actually killed a few. She might play with it a little while longer and then just leave it alone, or I go after, or I collect it. But she has caught a few bugs in here. And Mila used to do that too. Yeah, I'm still talking about you, Pumpkin. I'm still talking about you, Pumpkin. Silly little torty girl. Yeah, Yorkies are definitely hunters. At least in their younger days. A relative had a very old Yorkie, and that little girl had a habit of, well, maybe not a habit, but occasionally she would dislocate her hip, and you would simply lay her down and massage it back into place, and she would just rest it off. Of course, that dog got to be pretty darn old. But she was still a go-getter, even at that age. Half Dachshund, half Pomeranian that my mom had in my high school and college days, and years after after I came back here to Iowa. Uh, that that little dog was trying to go after it even with arthritis, but then when my parents moved into their short-lived retirement home until my dad got his cancer, Snuggles had to go to a relative, and so she went down to a warmer state so the cold wouldn't bother her so much. I think she lived about 3 or 4 years after that. Well, that's cool. And you wouldn't think of Bichon Frise as a hunter, but they probably, they can probably go after just like any terrier. The goofiest dog I ever knew was a fox terrier who lived in the house that I stayed in when I was in Mexico back in '86. That dog was a real crazy one. At night, Yaki would kind of do these long howls, not like a wolf howl, not like a coyote howl, but just like just for several seconds at a time, and slap his food bowl around, play with it. Out on the patio that's in between the main house and the guest house, what used to be the servants' quarters. But that dog would try to follow us whenever we would go to the bus stop, and we'd have to chase him back into the yard. Yeah, we had to walk like 3 blocks to the nearest bus stop whenever you wanted to go somewhere by bus. But that dog liked one certain pair of shoes to playfully chew on, and that was one pair I had. He wouldn't bother anyone else's feet, but mine when I was wearing that one specific pair of shoes. If I wore other shoes, he would leave my feet alone, but that one specific pair I had, he wanted to play with them. Oh yeah, rabbits can move. Yeah, Snuggles being dachshund, it was nothing for her to go to ground. She would go into small animal burrows. She loved to chase snakes. She got bit by a cottonmouth once. We thought we were going to lose her, but she got past that. She used to go after armadillos and copperheads. She almost got bit by a copperhead, but she managed to avoid that. But she used to chase all kinds of critters down in Arkansas. Now the weird thing is Yaki, I don't know if it was a smell of the particular shoes that I was wearing that attracted him, but he wouldn't bother anyone else's feet no matter what shoes they wore. And as I said, if I wore other shoes than that one pair, because I took like 2 or 3 pairs of shoes, because I wasn't always sure what kind of places I would be walking in, or what kind of weather I'd be walking in. But that one pair of shoes, he would go after with my feet in them. Of course, at night when I go to bed, I had my bedroom door shut so that he couldn't come inside. Because that night he was supposed to be in his kennel or in his doghouse on the patio or wherever he spent the night. So those of us who were staying in that house, we had our bedroom door shut. It was the first day I got down to Mexico. We stayed 2 nights in a motel in the city of Guadalajara before we went to various houses that we were assigned to stay in. But there was a woman in that hotel who had a Chihuahua. That dog would not approach anyone else in our group of 13 but me. I don't know if that dog sensed something different about me than the other 12, but that dog would only approach me for some reason. And he let me pet him and scratch his ears, but he would shy away from everybody else. I guess for some hunters, that's how they kill their prey, is they shake the crap out of them. Pumpkin wanted to walk across my desk again, but I have stuff sitting behind my tablet mount, so she can't go past there. So she went up on top of my Instant Pot box and then jumped down off of that. Goof. Now, we never really had animals follow us. We were usually, someone would either bring them to us. We took care of a rabbit for a couple of months while the owners were away on a trip. No, there's nothing in there for Pumpkin. Oh, she just sniffed my ration bag. I think she caught a glimpse of she got a whiff of the chowder smell. Yeah, there's nothing in that bag for the Pumpkin. There's nothing in there for the kitty. But someone brought us a descended skunk named Sweet William. We actually had him for about 4 or 5 years. But the last place we had him, he was put in the horse barn, and he would actually go after the mice. He actually hunted the mice in the horse barn. But one night it got so cold that I guess we didn't think about providing enough protection from the cold out there. Or, he didn't bring him inside, and he froze to death. But yeah, he hunted the mice in the horse barn. This was at the YMCA camp outside of Boone, Iowa. But he was a huge two-striper, very gentle, very affectionate. But once he got moved out to the horse barn, he found his place. He actually loved going after the mice and other little critters out there. One time when I was younger than that even, my brother found a bull snake. It's only about as long as my tray is wide. If even that. So it was a juvenile snake, and it was only able to eat tiny insects. But my parents told my brother to let it go back outside. I happened to have a friend stay the weekend with me. So she got to touch the snake, but it freaked her out. Of course, I had a pet mouse for a time that actually brought home from the school. But I had one of those, they call it a habit trail. It's a plastic cage with different attachments to increase the size, add different rooms onto it, different levels. You can have different things inside there for enrichment, for activity, for the little animal you have in there. But that mouse liked to chew through the plastic, so I had figured out ways to cover that up. But then one time, he got out, and a cat that I had at the time caught my pet mouse. So I never got another rodent. But I think my brother had a gerbil. And so my habit trail cage that I had for the mouse got set up for the gerbil. But then it died, so we just never got any more rodents after that. Of course, once my younger nephew got into breeding snakes, then he began breeding his own rodents to feed the adult snakes. But he's got a whole setup for that. Then he takes care of the reptiles at the zoo. He actually studied at Iowa State University, and specializing or with emphasis on reptiles. And so the zoo is the day job, but the breeding is his side gig. And when he gets unique color variations on the snakes or the geckos, they can sell for quite a bit of money. Yeah, thanks for dropping in. I'm probably going to go ahead and call this one good. Anyway, I finished off my Bill's Brew. Getting this vegetable cracker pack I had on standby in case this one did not have it, because I wanted vegetable crackers with this seafood chowder. This is 2022 pack crackers. These will come out to play another day. But I want to thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. And if you missed my New Year's Day lunch special, where I had that Ukrainian borscht that I bought off of Amazon quite a while back, and added a few other things to make the meal, you can go check that out, see what that's like if you missed that live. Not too many came in, but that's okay. I was there for anybody who wanted to come in, hang out on a New Year's Day afternoon. But next Sunday is my birthday, and I will have something special, something fun. And I hope you all come out and help me celebrate my birthday. Anyway, I want to thank you all for hanging out with me. And Pumpkin, she's playing with a toy off to the left. That's a spring-loaded thing with a tuft of something up at the top. So that's what she's playing with. I want to thank you for hanging out with both of us tonight. And catch you on the flip side.